Welcome to MorrisStreetCombat.com. I'm Patrick Morris, and the purpose of my website is to educate not only the public but other martial artists about how street fighting has got to be trained as its own martial art. Just like you study judo, jiu-jitsu, taekwondo, karate, you have to study street fighting in order for it to be effective as its own entity, as its own martial art. And the reason is because in a dojo you have a structured environment. There are certain things that happen in the street, certain elements that you do not have in a dojo. You don't have the verbal confrontation, which could set fear into you. You don't have the ambush theory where somebody's going to come up and hit you from behind or on the side. You don't know if you're fighting in the street, if you're fighting in a stairway, if you're fighting in a crowded bar or getting out of a car. You don't have the snow or the grass or the rain. And these are all elements that you need to study and you need to practice in order to be prepared. Now, I've studied the martial arts for 40 years. I'm a law enforcement academy instructor. I also train military personnel, and I train everybody the same way. There are 4 phases to a street fight. You have your confrontation, you have your ambush, you have the fight, and then you have your results. You as an individual, you have 3 phases. Number 1, you have to give yourself permission to fight. You have to say to yourself, okay, I'm in this confrontation here, I'm going to fight this person. The second thing you have to do is actually fight. You have to engage. The third thing is the results. Now, in the confrontation, that's where you're going to have your stances, your combat stance, your non-violent postures. You're going to have being aware of your surroundings. You're going to have the verbal judo where that person may be in your face threatening you, trying to put fear into you. These are things that we break down and we study individually. You have to be aware of your environment. You have to be aware of the surface that you're fighting on. Are you on stairs? Are you getting out of a car? Is it raining out? Is it snowing out? You got to have yourself prepared to fight in every situation. And this is what we call thinking tactically. We can't let fear overtake us. And the only thing that eliminates fear is education. All right? Knowledge will eliminate fear. Thinking tactically in a heated environment will eliminate the fear of the situation. Now, in the ambush stage, that's the first contact you have with the bad guy. That's where the bad guy is either going to punch you, grab you, push you, kick you, throw something at you. That's the ambush stage. Now, the fight stage is the martial arts. That's where what you learn in the dojo, you bring it into the fight. That's where your taekwondo comes in. That's where your boxing, your wrestling, your judo, jiu-jitsu, that's where you bring all that stuff in, is in that one stage. That's all that is good for, is that one stage. In the result stage, you have, did you get hurt? Did the bad guy get hurt? Are you going to be arrested? Are you going to have him arrested? Can you describe him? Did you follow the law? What are the results? I mean, we break the stuff down and we teach you a little bit about everything. And that way you're going to be prepared for the entire street fight and you'll be tactically ready to take on the bad guy. Now, in the confrontation, the verbal judo is a big part of the whole thing, because when you have somebody coming at you in the street, whether they be following you or whether they're right in your face, you start putting fear in your head. You start saying to yourself, okay, now, am I about to be attacked? How big is this person? What am I going to do? What we're going to do is give you the knowledge to start thinking tactically. Now, I always tell the same story about you're in a bar and this big Hell's Angel biker is coming at you and he's pointing, he's going, I'm going to frick you up. I'm going to kill you. You're freaking dead. He's like 300 pounds. He's huge. And he's going to kill you. And you're sitting there thinking to yourself, oh, you know, this is a big guy, known for fighting. You know, he's huge. I don't know if I could take him. What am I going to do? You see how the fear is building in your mind. You don't know what to do. All of a sudden, somebody comes up and whispers in your ear. Look, all you got to do is slap him, and he's going to cry like a baby. So now you start thinking, well, if he comes at me, I'm going to slap him. Now you're thinking tactically. You've eliminated the fear, and now you're thinking tactically in order to take care of the person. Now, we teach nonviolent postures, all right? Now, nonviolent postures are important is because they keep you in the ready without putting you into a combat stance. Now, everybody has their combat stances that they've learned through the years, and I'm speaking to my fellow martial artists, and if you haven't had one, that's your fighting stance. And I teach many different kinds of fighting stances. I take a law enforcement stance myself, but there's different fighting stances that you can do, and we'll get into that. But the nonviolent posture is where you're standing there, and you're already into the fight frame of mind. You're in a situation, whether the person is looking at you from across the room or they're right here in your face, you take a nonviolent posture, such as you're standing there, and one of them that we call is like the Jack Benny, you got your hands up here like this, you're getting prepared. Look how fast my hands are ready to protect myself. Okay? There's the other one where a lot of people might mess with their wedding ring or their watch or something. See where my hands are? They're right up here to protect myself. My foot goes back, and I'm already ready to fight. There's many more that we're going to go through. In the confrontation stage, you got to be... I only teach law enforcement and military to put a person into custody, to fight right to the ground, to get them into custody to win the battle. In the street, to the public, I teach them to be prepared to get out of the situation. You have won that battle if you are able to stop the attack and get out of the situation. You won that fight. The dojos seem to, and the karate schools seem to teach us that you got to learn all these complicated moves and fight and beat this person up, and then you won the battle. And that's dangerous, because if you take a 100-pound or 130-pound woman and put her against a 250-pound guy, the physics is not there for this woman to beat the guy. I don't care what she does, she's not going to be able to beat him. The only chance that this girl is going to have, she could have all the black belts in the world, and she's not physically going to be able to beat this guy. The physics is not there for her to do it. And for the martial arts schools and the karate schools to teach that you can, and give black belts to 10-year-olds, and give black belts to little kids and women, and say now you can defend yourself against anybody, is ludicrous to me, because the physics is not there in order for you to do it. What they should be doing is learning some basic techniques in order to stun the bad guy and get out of there. Now, if this 100-pound person is fighting another 100-pound person, yeah, well, they can go at it, they can fight. But when you have a bigger person against a smaller person, and you stop the attack and you get away, you won the fight. You do not have to beat this person into the ground.